Welcome to 55 Plus, The Perfect Years, the podcast dedicated to helping you navigate and enjoy your retirement to the fullest. I'm your host, Roy Martinez, and today we have an exciting and highly relevant topic of discussion: how Americans 55 and older are using computers in their daily lives. We'll explore the various ways this age group engages with technology, from work and social media to entertainment and information searching. We'll also touch on the critical issue of computer security, how to keep your data safe. In today's digital age, computers and the internet have become indispensable tools for people to use, and people of all ages, including those 55 and older. According to a recent study, a significant majority of Americans in this age group are using computers regularly. But what exactly are they using them for? Well, let's break it down. Many older adults continue to work well past the traditional retirement age, and computers play a vital role in this, whether it's part-time consulting, freelancing, or even full-time remote work. Computers enable seniors to stay productive and connected in the workforce. They use various software applications, video conferencing tools, and online collaboration platforms to perform their tasks efficiently. Social media has also become a major part of life for those 55 and older. Platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly Twitter, allow them to stay connected with family and friends, share life updates, and even join communities with shared interests. It's a wonderful way to maintain social connections, especially in retirement when physical social circles might shrink. Entertainment is another big draw, from streaming movies to TV shows on platforms like Netflix and Hulu, to listening to music and podcasts like 55 Plus, The Perfect Years. Computers offer a wide range of entertainment options. Many seniors are also getting into online gaming, finding it a fun and engaging way to pass the time and even connect with others. Searching for information is another way of and a significant use of computers. Whether it's looking up health information, reading news, researching hobbies, or planning travel, the internet provides a wealth of information at their fingertips. This ability to easily access information can greatly enhance their quality of life and independence. However, with the increased use of computers comes the important issue of security. Cyber threats like phishing, malware, identity theft are real concerns. It's crucial for older adults to know how to keep their data safe. Simple steps such as using strong, unique passwords, enabling two-factor authentication, regularly updating software, and being cautious about what they click on can go a long way in protecting their information. Today, we have a special guest who will delve deeper into these topics, offering insights and practical advice on the Americans 55 and older and what they can do to make the most of their computers while staying safe online. The doctor is in the house. Please join me in welcoming Michael Bilyeu, the computer doctor. Michael has been in the computer business, building, fixing, and helping businesses solve computer problems for well over 25 years. He's an expert in digital literacy and cybersecurity for seniors. Michael, welcome to 55 Plus, The Perfect Years. And we want to welcome you first by letting you know, or you letting us know, a little bit about yourself and also about your business, Computer Doctor.
Well, I started the business 29 years ago officially. I was doing work on the side for a lot of family and friends. Prior to that, I started basically back in the 80s. In 81, I was majoring in computer science at Sam Houston State when the actual desktop PC was introduced by Bill Gates and IBM at that time. I was very interested in pursuing that. The college, of course, didn't offer desktop PC type of software at the time because everything was based mainframes. So I went on my own after a year in college and just taught myself computers throughout the years and the jobs that I worked at. I worked for Domino's Pizza for 12 years, and I computerized my store and helped the office computerize. Worked for Burger King. I even wrote a training manual and ordering manual for Burger King Corporation that they used to order food online for the very first time. They had never done before. I worked for HEB, where I wrote a program for doing surveys where they would ask customers questions, and I wrote a program to tabulate the answers for the surveys. And in 1995, I started my business on my own. I've been building, troubleshooting, and networking Windows-based PCs. Do not work with the Apple products ever since. Basically, what I do is I can build a computer for you. I can upgrade individual parts of that computer depending on what it is you need. Laptops are a lot more difficult. I can't necessarily do a lot with laptops. Hard drives and memories, I'm kind of limited to that because I don't carry the other parts. I don't have vendors for the other parts. But basically, troubleshooting is probably 60% of my business. And probably at least 20% of that is fixing people's passwords. People memorize passwords and then they don't remember what they are.
Well, let's start there because, in today's society, obviously we have a lot of computers and a lot of uses for different applications. If you're in any kind of business, you got passwords for that, for your emails, for just getting online to Facebook, getting online to Twitter, and all of these things. What do you recommend the best thing to do for people when they're thinking or planning to put their passwords together?
Well, I mean, there's most of my customers. I mean, I've gone into offices and I see Post-it notes stuck all around the monitor with all the different usernames and passwords, which is not terrific. That's not a great idea. Fire or theft, I mean, that's a major issue. I know people have books where they have everything handwritten books, and of course they'll have that on their desk also.
So it doesn't do any good.
No,
it doesn't do any good to have the notes on the desk where anybody can easily find them.
Well, if it's for you at your house, that's fine. In an office, not necessarily, especially like if you're in accounting or finance, brokerage. I mean, that's the last thing you want is your book lying around. One of the better things I myself, I have a little phone book program, and I just in the phone book, I'll put, Amazon, and I'll put a few letters of the username, and then I'll put a few letters of the password, not the entire thing, just a little bit, just enough to, hopefully refresh my memory as to what it was. That's what I do. I have some offices, they'll do, they have like a Word document or Excel spreadsheet that has all their passwords in it. And invariably, I'll go in and they'll go to print it out, and I'll say, well, where are you having this? Oh, it's on my computer. I said, okay, what's the name of the file? And they'll say passwords. And I'll say, no, change it to recipes or grandkids, whatever. Don't name your password file on the computer passwords, because a hacker, that's the first thing he's going to go for. So basically, keep it simple. I mean, we're all forgetful. People tend to memorize their passwords on their websites and their email, and then they don't know how to get into them, and they forget the password, and then they're trying to send and a lot of the times I run into is they've changed emails. Well, they'll have on, say, Amazon or eBay or something, they have the old email address and they've got a new email, and the other one is gone. They can't get in anymore, and they go to reset their password and they can't, because it's sending an email to the old email address that they don't have access to. So that gets in a whole nother can of worms there as far as how they have it set up.
So is it a good idea? Is it a good idea for an individual that even if they're not in business, but just an average person that's at home, retired and just doing for things, to have more than one email address?
You almost, nowadays, you pretty much have to. You want to have your primary email address, and then you want to have a backup. I mean, Microsoft has been hacked. Gmail's been hacked. I mean, they've all been hacked at one time or another, and email could go down. And you can, I mean, sometimes what you can do is you can have your primary email address for friends and family, and then you can have a secondary email address you use for online shopping. That way, most of the junk email will go to that email address and not to your primary. So you can segregate your emails that way as well, which is it's a good use of the multiple emails. And, it's somebody that maybe you meet some people at, a PTA meeting or, something of that nature, or a HOA meeting and stuff. And you really don't want to give them your personal email. And, most businesses people, they have their business email and their personal email. So they already have two. But like you say, retired people, they don't really do that. But a good idea is to have like an Outlook.com email and a Gmail. And you can just separate. You have your friends and family and other. So you can separate your emails and not give everything out that you just don't, I don't know this person. I don't really want to give them my regular email. I'll check this, on the other one periodically. I don't check it every day, that kind of thing.
With passwords, for example, I mean, yes, you can have a physical place to look for them, but what about people hacking into your computer? And where would you keep stuff like that in your computer where people are not going to find them easily? Are the same idea where you name the file different?
Yeah, you give it a different file name, number one. And again, depending on your level of experience, you can make it a hidden file, so that it's not, popping up right away. But then you got to remember to unhide it to be able to find it. But generally, if you put an email on there, recipes or something like that, a hacker is not sitting in front of his computer actively accessing your machine and going through file by file by file. That's a waste of his time. They use bots. They use Autobots to go in and they search the computer for them and retrieve all the information. And I mean, they're hitting, with these viruses they send out, they're hitting thousands of computers at a time. They're not going to sort through that individually. They don't have time for it. They have these little programs that sort through things. So that's why giving it a name like recipes or grandchildren or something of that nature, it'll be just bypassed automatically.
So what is the most common way that you find that people lose their data? Not necessarily their business data, but their personal data on their personal computers. Which is the more common way that hackers can get you that way?
Yeah, maybe it's the way I take care of my customers, but I've only had one serious hack attempt on one customer in 29 years. I mean, I've had some viruses here and there, but I've never had any issues with, and nobody's lost data at all. But there was one ransomware attempt that got into a system that I was able to block. I ended up having to reload the computers, but the settings that I had did protect them. But the main reason people lose data is they don't have backups. It's just that simple. Sooner or later, depending on how old your computer is, you're going to have a crash. You're more likely to have a hard drive crash than you are to be hacked by a hacker. It's just, those are the odds. You're sitting here in a small town, you're using your computer, sporadically for little things, some shopping, something like that. I mean, even the pop-up ads that say your computer's been hacked, this is Microsoft, call this number. They're really not interested in getting in your computer as much as they want to lock it down. They want to get your credit card information, your name, address, phone number, things of that nature. That's what they're looking to get from you. They're not really looking to get into your computer and look at your files. If anything, they'll want to lock it down and force you to pay them to unlock it for you, which you don't ever want to pay under that circumstance, because number one, who says they're going to unlock it? And number two, who says they won't lock it down again later? So never, ever pay these people. I mean, you just don't. And that's where you have backups. OneDrive, Google Drive. The only product for security I recommend is Norton 360, and it includes a free backup of your data files into the cloud, and it's secure and it's encrypted. So, and those are all free. OneDrive is free, minimal amount, depending on how much you're wanting to back up, of course, but there's plenty of ways to back up your data free. Pictures, documents, tax files, definitely your tax files you want to protect. No questions asked. If you're using your own QuickBooks or TurboTax, anything of that information that's on your computer, you definitely want to password protect that on the program itself. Because you can have more than one program having passwords, like your recipes. Let's say you put up all your passwords and you name it recipes in Microsoft Word. You can add a password to that document as well. So not only do you call it recipes and it's full of your passwords, you can give it a password. Of course, if you forget that password, then you're going to have a hard time opening that document. So again, you've got to make sure you have something simple something easily remembered for you. And, maybe you have a little book, somewhere you can put. Most people have some kind of small safe or fireproof box of that nature you could put it in to protect it. Basically backups it's almost has to be a religion. You back up no matter what, and protect your information, because you go on vacation, once in a lifetime vacation through Europe, and you take all these pictures, your hard drive crashes, you have no backup. How are you going to get those pictures back? You going to take the trip again?
You're not. What about changing passwords? How often do people change passwords, or how often do you recommend people change their passwords?
Well, first off, people typically don't change passwords unless they absolutely have to. But the golden rule of thumb is you change the password once a year. You have up to 5 rotating passwords that you can use on various programs. So you basically have 5 passwords. You use them on different platforms depending on what you're doing: Facebook, email, eBay, Amazon, whatever. And you rotate those 5 passwords between those platforms throughout that year, and then the next year you do them again. And you don't reuse a password more often than every 3 years. So if you want to reuse a password on the 4th year, it's acceptable as a rule of thumb. But if you got 5 passwords you're rotating and you're changing them every year for up to 4 years, it needs to be a good password. Most programs won't let you use password 123 anymore. They block that. Most programs won't let you use your name as a password, any part of it. So, and typically people use dog's name, grandkid's name, girlfriend's name, child's name, and that's fine. Always rotate the letters. Use the @ symbol instead of the letter A. Use the number 3 instead of the letter E. Throw in a $sign for the letter S. Things like that. You can rotate those letters around. I've even seen people use the names, but they type it backwards.
When you obviously you do work with businesses a lot, and most of your business is businesses.
Correct.
But I know in conversations that we've had, you have people that are not in business anymore and just use their computers for gaming. Do you see a lot of older people that are in the 55 plus that are using computers for gaming nowadays?
Certainly. Some of it is as simple as playing solitaire, but there's a lot of these games that help strengthen your mind, help ward off dementia and stuff like that. Keeps your mind sharp, keeps your dexterity of your fingers, things like that. These are more and more prevalent now. You'll see them on apps on phones and on computers. Basically anything that makes you think, keeps your brain working. It doesn't have to be these sophisticated games these kids are playing. It can be card games. It could be simple. I forget some of these, Farmville. These ones you see on like iPads. And
Candy
Crush,
and stuff like that.
Yeah, anything that keeps the brain working, the mind working, and the body working. That's all good stuff. Now, of course, there's a double-edged sword here. You can be playing all those games trying to keep your mind, sharp. Well, that's great, but then you're sedentary. That's not good either. So you got to get up and move. They say basically get up 5 minutes for every 30 minutes of inactivity. If you get up and walk around 5 minutes after 30 minutes of playing, then go back to playing, that's great. Go to the bathroom, go get something to drink, go check the mail, anything.
Well, what about the computers? How old a computer can you have and it still be an effective computer?
Depends on who made the computer and what you bought at the time. There's a lot of variations in the processors and the hard drives. Now pretty much all computers now are solid state hard drives. That's a good thing. That's been the biggest, most fantastic improvement in computers since the computers were invented. The old spinning disk hard drive, basically it's like a turntable, a phonograph. You got a steel disc spinning and it's got a laser arm that reads the data off a magnetic disc. That was invented in the 60s. Okay, that's been going on ever since then. It got up to, basically, I think 8,400 RPM was the fastest those things could go. Typically, people were running them around 6,000, 6,500 RPM, most hard drives. Solid state hard drives are, anywhere from 15 to 25 times faster than that. So the most significant speed improvement was the hard drive going to solid state. Nowadays, you want at least 16 gigs RAM. Intel has the i3, i5, i7, i9 processors. You want at least an i7. AMD, they've got the Ryzen 3, 5, 7, 9 also. You want at least a Ryzen 7. But as far as the longevity of the computer, any computer that can run Windows 10 now is good. If it can't run Windows 10, if you're still running Windows 7 or 8, no, that computer is obsolete and it's not secure. Windows 11 is, of course, taken over, and the next couple of years, Windows 10 will be obsolete and phased out as well. But if
should you change the minute do you have a new Windows program come out, should you change it at that point, or how long can you stay without having to change it?
I generally wait. For my customers, I don't get the new operating system because these are businesses. They're everything's based on productivity, and I'm not going to have them walk and point on some new operating system that maybe has not been debugged yet. So I generally, within usually close to 8-9 months, maybe a year, depending on what computer they have, I'll go ahead and move them into the new operating system at that time. I don't have them do it immediately. Now, if it's a brand new computer, a lot of times when the new operating system comes out, within a couple of months, the old operating system is phased out. You can't get it anymore. So, say Windows 12 comes out. Within a couple of months, I will have no choice on new computers but to do Windows 12 because I can't buy the Windows 11 anymore. So that's a little different scenario. But as long as your computer, typically if you buy an off-the-shelf all-in-one computer, laptop computer, Lenovo, Dell, whatever, they're generally good for around 5 years, maybe 5 to 8 years on a residential, 5 to 6 years on commercial use. That's about the longevity you get out of them.
And if you need one built by the computer doctor, let me tell you, I've had experience with him building a computer for me that I've used probably for 12 years with a few upgrades here and there, and they're very good. Michael, before we let you go, thank you, of course, for your time, because it's very helpful for everybody to learn all of this stuff. But give us a contact information, how people can get a hold of you in case they need your services.
So, well, website's www.computer-dr.net. Phone number 956-240-1943. Email is computer_doctor, spelled out DOCTOR 38 @outlook.com. But if you go to my website, it's all there as far as the services I provide, the contact information, and so on. If you just do a search, Computer Doctor, McAllen, Texas, I'll come up on Bing and on Google as well. I have business pages there, even on Yelp. So pretty much, Michael Bilyeu, last name B as in boy, ILYEU, Michael Bilyeu, Computer Doctor. You do a search, Computer Doctor McAllen, anything like that, and you're pretty much going to find me.
All right. Again, Michael, thank you very much for all the information, and we'll have you back on the podcast sometime soon, because I'm sure we've left a lot of questions out there that are unanswered. So again, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Glad to help. You have a great day.
There you have it, folks. The information that you've been wanting in regard to computers, what to do, what not to do, how to protect your data and all of that. And like he says, more and more people at our age, 55 and up, are using computers, and all the way up to, I know people that are in their mid-80s that are still using computers. But just protect yourself and protect your data and your information. That's about going to do it for us on 55 Plus, The Perfect Years. We do want to remind you that we come out with a new podcast every Wednesday at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You can find us on Facebook. You can follow us on Facebook at 55 Plus The Perfect Years, or at Roy Martinez on Twitter and on X, or whatever it is they're calling it this week. And you can also follow us on Twitter at 55 Plus The Perfect Years. And if you want to find us also, you can find us on YouTube. And we're expanding the ways that you can get this podcast, because we feel that this is going to be very important for all of us that are turning 55 plus. Again, we appreciate you joining us today, and we hope you join us again next week. If you have any questions, you can email me at 55plustheperfectyears@gmail.com. That's 55plus theperfectyears@gmail.com. And remember, getting old is not bad. It's better than the alternative, and it's a privilege that many do not get a chance to have. I'm Roy Martinez, and we hope to see you again soon on 55 Plus, The Perfect Years.